Predict, pick, and prevail in your fantasy football leagues with Nick Giacobbe and Nick Cap. From breakouts to busts, superstars to sleepers, these are the guys that will help you achieve fantasy glory. This is the PrimeTime Fantasy Podcast.
Welcome everybody to week 6. Happy Sunday morning. It's 8:30 and this is the PrimeTime Fantasy Podcast, where we give you our predictions, our picks, with the hopes that we hope you prevail throughout week 6, that is today, and the rest of the 2022 fantasy football season. I'm your host, Nick Giacobbe. Joining me is my partner in crime, Nick Cap. Nick, we're in week 6. We're about 1/3 of the way through the NFL/fantasy football season, and I'm excited. We have injuries to talk about. I believe it's our first week of buys. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, big week for sure.
If this is your first time listening to us, thank you so much. We do the live show every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. We usually go about an hour, maybe a little bit longer, depends on, and it depends on how many questions we get. We want to answer all of your questions. If the questions slow down around 9:30, we'll end at 9:30. If the questions keep going, we'll keep going till. So yeah, that's how the show usually is done. You can ask your questions throughout the entire show. We do the show on YouTube, on Facebook, and on Twitter. YouTube and Facebook is PrimeTime Fantasy Podcast. Twitter is PrimeTimeFFPod, same as our Instagram and TikTok handles. We also do the show during the week. We do Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. We do those on all audio streaming platforms, Apple Podcasts, Google, Spotify, basically anywhere where you can find a podcast, you can find the PrimeTime Fantasy Podcast. If you're on iTunes or Spotify, please give us a 5-star rating and a review. Really would appreciate that. If you'd rather watch the show, watch it like you're watching right now. Go to our YouTube channel, PrimeTime Fantasy Podcast. Hit that subscribe button. Drop a like on any video that you're watching. If you're watching right now, if you're on YouTube, I believe you could drop a like. If you're on Facebook, you could definitely drop a like. Please drop a like, drop a heart. We'd appreciate that throughout the entirety of the show. Deshaun, what's going on, my guy? I can't wait to see what questions you got for us today. As the rest of you, we're going to go through a Sunday preview each game, talk about the injuries, talk about a sleeper, a bust, a star. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. So why don't we start with that, and we'll answer your questions throughout the entire show. Just let us know if you got a question, and we will definitely answer it. So start off with the San Francisco 49ers and the Atlanta Falcons. I do like to note kicker injuries when they are there. So Robbie Gould is off the Friday injury report. I don't know the injury, but I don't like playing injured kickers, but it seems like he'll be fine. And Kyle Pitts with the hamstring injury is expected to play. He did miss last week, but with the matchup this week, I'm not sure he's going to score any more than he did on your bench last week. First questions, let's answer it. Avante Merriweather, Dallas Goedert, or Taysom Hill?
I'll go with Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert's been very consistent and very good. I do love playing Taysom Hill, but this is a very bad matchup as well. I know he's listed as tight end, but he's only had one target this year. Most of his points came from running it on the ground, and the Bengals rank as the third best team against running back, so I can't see Taysom Hill being too effective on the ground today.
I'm actually going to go the opposite side. I'm going to go Taysom Hill. I'm scared of that Cowboys matchup. I'm scared that it's going to be a very low-scoring game, maybe 13-7 or 19-10, or whatever the number is. I don't think there's going to be a lot of touchdowns to go around. I don't think there's going to be a lot of offense to go around, and that leads me to believe that it's going to be really hard for Dallas Goedert to see production when they're already going to feed Miles Sanders. Jalen Hurts is going to run. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown are studs. So I think it could be tough to see the production from the Eagles side. If you have a better option like Taysom Hill, has a lot of touchdown potential, start Taysom Hill. See a lot of questions, guys. Thank you so much for joining. Again, I'll do the show every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Drop a like on YouTube if you're on YouTube. Drop a like on Facebook. We'd appreciate that. We're going to keep answering your questions one by one as they are in the chat. From Jeb Armstrong, hey, guys, should I start Deion Jackson or Isaiah McKenzie in my flex standard league? I have a gripe here. Everybody's all in on Deion Jackson. He's gonna split carries with Phillip Lindsay. The Jags defense has also been really tough against running backs. This isn't a good matchup for Deion Jackson, and he's not the running back one. He has touchdown potential, but he's fighting with Phillip Lindsay. So I think I might go Isaiah McKenzie in a game that should be an absolute offensive explosion.
I agree. I'm playing Isaiah McKenzie. I'm playing both, actually, against Nick this week. And not win or go home for both of us, more so for Nick, but in a very big matchup in our league. But I think Deion Jackson is a good play. Last week against Denver, who I think has the best front seven and probably the best overall defense in all of football. He put up 12 fantasy points. So, and that was with him and Philip Lindsay having some sort of a split backfield. I do think both will get production, but I think Deion Jackson will be the leader over there. Because it's standard scoring, I'm gonna go with Isaiah McKenzie. I know typically you want to go with the running back in standard, but McKenzie is a deep threat. He's a touchdown threat. Where I don't think Deion Jackson has that upside where, you would need him to make up with 4 or 5 receptions for an Isaiah McKenzie touchdown.
All right. We got you on CRC, your question. Walker, I'm assuming it's Kenneth Walker or Devontae Smith, half PPR. I think I'm going to go with Kenneth Walker here. Devontae Smith is a tough matchup against the Eagles, like I said. I mean, against the Cowboys, like I said. I think we'll see one Eagle have a big game on offense, and I just don't know who it's going to be. Now, I think Kenneth Walker can have a big game for the Seahawks. The Cardinals have not been great against the run. He looked good in his first real start last week, even if it wasn't a start. I would go with Kenneth Walker. He should get the production, should get the volume, and it should be a high-scoring NFC West shootout.
I completely agree.
Okay. From our buddy Deshaun, thanks for joining every week, Deshaun. You knows YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter, 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time every Sunday. I'm starting at running back this week. It's tough. I'm starting Chase Edmonds and Tony Pollard with Connor out and Penny out for the year. Do I start Lindsay over either of them? Maybe Edmonds. And Mostert looks healthy as far as we could tell. So my guess is that Mostert's starting. I don't see what kind of work Edmonds get. I think I would start Lindsay over Edmonds, but not Pollard.
I agree with that. I would go Lindsay and Edmonds out of your 3.
Okay.
Lindsay and Pollard out of your 3. Sorry.
Gotcha. Thank you for the question, my friend. Me and Ben's playlist, another recurring questionnaire. Thank you so much for joining every single week. Pick 2 for flex, full PPR. Taysom Hill, Rondell Moore, J.K. Dobbins, Zeke, Deion Jackson. I can't speak. So excited. And Alec Pierce. This is a tough question. This is a good one. I don't like Deion Jackson, if you can't tell already. So I'm just gonna take that one out so far. The Eagles haven't been like phenomenal against the run as far as they've been middle of the pack. I don't love Zeke, but with your options, I mean, I think I'm leaning towards a combination of Zeke, J.K. Dobbins. Well, I actually don't. I want Alec Pierce in there. The running back situation isn't great. I think I want Alec Pierce in there. And if I had to pick one more, let's go with Zeke.
I would not play Zeke this week. I'm benching him in a lot of leagues. I know they're middle of the pack, but the fact is,
do you have Zeke in?
The Cowboys cannot get the ball down the field at all, and Zeke is heavily going to rely on touchdown or bust. I mean, he's going to get maybe 60 yards on the ground. We haven't seen big burst from him in a couple of years. We haven't seen the ability with Cooper Rush for him to put up a successful fantasy day. So I think he belongs on your bench until Dak's back, and then you can reassess. But for right now, I don't think Zeke deserves a starting job. I would roll out Alec Pierce as well, like Nick said. And I would roll out Deion Jackson. I think there's a lot safer of a workload. I think both have touchdown upside against a very susceptible Jaguars defense. But both would have played well if they were starting 4 weeks ago against them. So I think both are going to have solid fantasy days.
All right. Monsieur, I do see your second question. Going to get to this one real quick, then get out of here. Skylar Thompson or Andy Dalton half PPR quarterback 2? I don't think Skylar Thompson's playing. Teddy B cleared concussion protocol. So I think they're going to start Teddy Bridgewater. So I would go with Andy Dalton, but that matchup looks really bad. All 3 of the starting wide receivers are out. If Skylar Thompson starts, I would start Skylar Thompson, but I don't think he's starting.
Yeah, I'd roll out Andy Dalton.
Okay. As well. All right, Monsieur, going back to your second question. Thank you for asking the questions of being patient. Should I trade Etienne and Brandon Cooks for Najee? I don't hate it, but I also don't love it. The Steelers' offensive line looks horrendous. The quarterback play isn't great, and they have a gauntlet of a schedule. So I think Najee could be a guy that could really turn it up in the second half of the season. If your record is really good, if you're like 4-1, I would do it. But if you're struggling, I would not do it because your Etienne might outscore Najee for the next 4 weeks.
I don't love the trade, but I don't hate it as well.
I feel like you
kinda
can get a
leaning
better
with
running
Nick,
back. I feel like
but
there has to be a better running back out there than Najee unless you're really set on him.
so up until their bye week, they go Tampa this week, Miami next week, Philly the following week. Those are 3 tough ones. They come out with New Orleans, Cincinnati, Indy, another 3 tough ones. And then down the stretch, they have one of the easiest schedules for the playoffs. They get Baltimore, at Carolina, Las Vegas, and then at Baltimore again. All those teams are bad against the running back, but up until then, it's going to be a nightmare. So I agree with Nick. If you have one of the top teams in your league and you can afford to wait, leave him on your bench, do it, because the possibility is he goes and be's a league winner in the final weeks of the season.
All right. Zah, good morning, homies. Thanks for joining again. We've seen you before, 8:30 a.m. every week, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. Good morning, homies. Need help with wide receiver this week? We could help you with wide receiver. I have Gabe Davis starting. Great. I like that, along with Sutton and Mike Williams. I kind of want to throw McKenzie in there since it's going to be a shootout. Well, I think you have to play Sutton and you have to play Gabriel Davis. That leaves Mike Williams, who's been very good, but he's on my bust team this week. He's going to be facing Patrick Surtain. He's going to probably get shadowed. Broncos defense has been top 3 against the wide receivers, so I don't love it. But I also don't love putting both McKenzie and Davis in there because I feel like you're almost rooting against yourself in a sense. I think I would put Mike Williams in there just to have a different team. And also, I consider McKenzie the wide receiver 3. We'll see what happens this week when all 3 are on the field. But I think I would just keep your set receivers as they are.
I'd keep the set receivers as they are, but I agree with I would want if it were any other lineup, right? You didn't have Gabe Davis in there. I would put McKenzie in for Mike Williams because I do think there's the upside of him outscoring him, but you are kind of cheering against yourself there. You won't be able to get as many points playing 2 receivers on the same team.
Yeah.
You can't throw them both the ball.
Yeah. Appreciate the questions, guys. Thanks for joining. Sunday mornings, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. We appreciate seeing you guys in here. Another one from Deshaun. In my 16-man league, do I start Philip Lindsay or DJ Dallas at flex? This one I would go Philip Lindsay.
Yeah, I agree. I'd go with Philip Lindsay here.
Okay. I'm going to scroll up. We missed a couple questions. Sorry about that. Avanti, Raheem Mostert or Clyde Edwards-Helaire at flex. Nick, you could take this one because you are a Clyde Edwards-Helaire guy, and I want to skim through the questions here and make sure we didn't miss any.
I have Raheem Mostert in my must-start team, and Clyde did see a lot less workload, so this is the first week I'd be willing to bench Clyde, but I'm not actively looking to bench him. I just think Raheem Mostert does have the better matchup.
Yeah, I would play Raheem Mostert. I love his matchup, and I like how he's been playing as of late. From our buddy Joe, didn't think I'd ever have to ask this, but Najee Harris or George Pickens? Don't love it. I really don't.
I'd play Najee.
I'd play Najee as well, even though I don't love it. I'll be grinding my teeth as I do it. All right. From Marcel, thanks for joining, Marcel. We appreciate that. Rank these guys: Drake London, DJ Moore, Travis Etienne, Miles Sanders, Darrell Henderson, full PPR. Hugs from Brazil. Oh, thanks for joining. We got a fantasy play from Brazil, and I don't know time zones, but you might be up early or late. I don't know. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 guys to rank, and I'm just ranking them for today. I just want to let you know, Marcel, this is just today's ranking, not a season-long ranking. For today, I think I'm putting Drake London right at the bottom. Or actually, no, I'll go Miles Sanders right at the bottom. Just bad matchup. Then Drake London. So now I'm left with Henderson, DJ Moore, and Etienne. I think I'm going to go Darrell Henderson, considering he's the running back 1 over there. He's my first. Then I'll go DJ Moore, and then I'll go Travis Etienne. So to recap, from the top to the bottom, my favorite matchup is Darrell Henderson, then Travis Etienne, then DJ Moore, then Travis Etienne, then Drake London, then Miles Sanders.
I would go, and purely off this week, everybody knows I hated DJ Moore going into the year. I hate him rest of the season. I think he has a great matchup this week, and his quarterback is a lot better than he was in the past. I'll go DJ Moore, number 1. I'll go Darrell Henderson, number 2. I would go Miles Sanders, number 3. Drake London, number 4. Travis Etienne, number 5.
All right. From XXX Lex, someone dropped Cam Akers. Should I pick him up and stash? And also said, yo, guys, hope you all are doing well. Hope you're doing well as well. Happy Sunday. Thanks for joining us. Somebody dropped in one of my leagues too, and I want to pick him up and stash him. I don't even know if my waiver went through. I don't think it did because I'm undefeated in that league, but I would stash him for sure. If he requests a trade and goes somewhere, I still think he's talented. There's something underlying, but running backs are scarce. I would. Imagine he gets traded to the 49ers or the Bills. this is a talented guy, so I would stash him if you can.
He is worth a stash, but my honest question is going to be like, what would it take for you to trust Cam Akers at this point? Like, does he need to have 3 consistent 10-point games? Because no, if he has 3 games for low double digits, I'm still not trusting him on a week-to-week basis. So, I'm not sure.
I want to paint something out here. In one of my leagues, in a 12-man league, I have to start the backup running back on Tampa. Forget his name. Rachaad White. I'm starting him over Alexander Madison. Like, that's a league where I could really use a Cam Akers in. So
that's different. A deeper league. Like, there's upside in stashing him, but I'm pretty sure he's out for the day. So
he's out for the day, but he's not injured. I'm saying, like, I think he's stashable, especially if he's going to either come back and play for the Rams or if he's going to get traded. Like, I still think he's rosterable.
There's stash potential. Yes.
Okay. All right. Got a bunch of questions. Going to keep answering them. I love this one from Sally. Should I start Greg Zuerlein because he's going to score more than Zach Wilson? You know what? I put Zach Wilson on my all boom team last week, and he did not boom. This is what I get for putting Jets on my boom teams. Zuerlein's startable. Why not? Starting him over Zach Wilson, but I do like the dig. Any thoughts, Nick?
Zach Wilson last week put up. What did he put up?
I don't think it was over 15. Was it 15?
I think it was 15.
That's not a boom.
A little under 15.
It wasn't a boom.
Wasn't a boom, but I don't know.
All right, from Lex again. Should I drop Elijah Moore and Irv Smith or grab Khalil Herbert and Cam Akers? It depends on your roster. Like, I would, because I think they both have upside. But if you need a tight end, keep Irv Smith. That's kind of where I like. I don't want to roster Elijah Moore right now.
I would absolutely roster Elijah Moore. And then I would grab Khalil Herbert over Irv Smith.
I just want to ask, what has Elijah Moore done that Cam Akers hasn't?
He's shown for last season with a healthy Zach Wilson and an offense that's rolling that he's the number one.
But that's last season.
He showed last season that he was the wide receiver 4 for a 6-week stretch with different quarterbacks. Elijah Moore has a lot more upside.
Well, I personally need to see it at least. Akers is a position of need where a wide receiver I could plug and play.
Akers has not been a good running back since he had the Achilles injury.
That's true. All right, we got a lot of questions, guys. Thanks for joining. 8:30 a.m. every Sunday. Super CNB challenges. Pick 2 PPR. Mike Williams, Michael Pittman, and Christian Kirk. Pittman and Kirk, I think, were both on my boom teams. Pittman was at least, and I almost put Kirk. Mike Williams was on my bust team. I would leave him on the bench this week. Really tough matchup with Patrick Surtain. The Chargers have been running the ball a lot more. I would go with Pittman and Kirk. I could see Mike Williams getting double teamed here.
I agree. Christian Kirk's, but I think Pittman's the lock here out of the 3. Has the best matchup of the 3. And then Christian Kirk last time they faced 4 or 5 weeks ago put up close to a 30-point fantasy day with 2 touchdowns. So no reason he shouldn't see similar production.
Thanks, Lex. We appreciate that. Hope to see you every week, 8:30 a.m., YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We love doing the show for you guys. We love answering your questions. Thank you for all the questions in the chat. We're going to get to them in order as they are given to us, so please be patient if you did ask a question. Appreciate the help, homies, from Za. Also, I scooped 3 defenses this week. I have the Eagles, added the Bills, and the Dolphins off waivers. Eagles or Bills, rest of season. I mean, I keep both and play the matchups if your team's good enough.
Yeah.
But if you're asking me to pick one, I would say the Eagles strictly because their schedule is one of the easiest in the NFL. But if you could keep both and play the matchups.
Yep, completely agree.
All right. Super CNB again. Eno Benjamin or Kenneth Walker PPR. I love this question. I've seen it a lot on Twitter. Go with Eno Benjamin. As much as I like Kenneth Walker, the Seahawks are so bad. They are the 6th worst team against the run. They're really bad. They're a top 3 bad against the run last year. They are really bad. I can't reiterate how bad my Seattle Seahawks are against the run. Play Eno Benjamin. Both of the 2 running backs ahead of him are out. James Conner, I think it's Damian Williams. Like, they're both out. It's just Eno Benjamin. Play Eno Benjamin. This is a good matchup. But Kenneth Walker is a good matchup too. But in that question, play Eno Benjamin. From Rudy Carell, we've seen you a couple weeks. Thanks for joining every week, Rudy. We appreciate it. I have Chris Olave, Jerry Jeudy, T. Higgins, Amon-Ra is on bye. Are they playing or should I plug in Jeudy? The last report I saw from Olave is that he's going to be out. You got to wait till 11 a.m. Eastern time, but it seems like he's out. T. Higgins is testing his ankle pregame.
I don't think he's going to play.
I don't think so either. I think you're going to end up playing Jeudy. That's my guess.
Even if Higgins is out there, we saw last week they didn't care. They played him for 10 snaps and then they pulled him from the game. So play Judy. Expect if you play T. Higgins, could he go off for 30 points? Absolutely, but there's still the risk of him putting up a goose egg because the coaching staff decides he's not good enough to go and pulls him mid-game.
All right. Also says Brees Hall is booming. Do you know Rudy? I know you know a couple.
I do not know Rudy.
All right. Well, it looks like you got a Jet fan in the
yes,
chat.
sir.
Yeah, maybe.
Let's go Brees.
I do have Brees on my all boom team this week. I'm going with another Jet. Guys, if you're on Facebook or YouTube, please give us a like.
You've been consistent. Maybe you're a secret Jets fan.
Am I? Man.
Yes, I think so. Nick, it's okay. It's time to come out of the Jets closet. God. We will fully accept you.
Nope. Nobody. Facebook and YouTube, guys, if you're on there, please drop a like on the video. Share it with your friends. We'd appreciate that. Miles Sanders or Kenneth Walker in full PPR from Blaze. I think I'm going Kenneth Walker. I have Miles Sanders on my all-bust team this week. Really nightmarish matchup against the Cowboys front seven that's been extremely good against the run. I think I'm going Kenneth Walker here.
I completely agree. Walker's going to be or should be in a shootout. Miles Sanders going up against one of the best front sevens in football.
Okay, thanks for the question. From Gershon Ben Kalman, PPR, Eno Benjamin or Jeff Wilson Jr. Eno is against the Hawks. I love this question too. I've seen it a lot on Twitter. I answered a couple this morning. I think I have to make this decision in a league. And I think I may have Jeff Wilson in there. I don't know. What do you think?
I'd probably roll out Jeff Wilson because I do think the floor is safer for him. He's had 4 consecutive weeks of double-digit points, where I do think Eno Benjamin presents a lot more upside. So I think it depends on what you personally need. Like, do you need the floor? Do you need the safe 10 points? Or do you need the 25, 30-point bomb?
The Falcons also just gave playoff Lenny like 29 points last week.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm with Nick. I think I'd play Jeff Wilson. I have a team where I have Jeff Wilson, Melvin Gordon, ETN, and Eno Benjamin, and I currently have Jeff Wilson and Melvin Gordon in my starting lineup. I might tinker that a little bit, but I think I would start Mostert. Williams. This is just a tough decision.
Yeah.
I would go Williams, though. All right. Tight end, PPR, Njoku or Higbee? Play Higbee. The Carolina Panthers defense sucks, and I think Higbee has the most targets in the league at tight end.
Yeah, that's a good question. I like this one. Njoku's got all the upside in the world, but same thing. Like Higbee's got such a safe floor with his workload, but
I also think Jacoby Brissett gets mauled today by the Patriots. I think Bill Belichick has a plan for Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I could see that happening. I would go with Tyler Higbee as well.
All right. From Rudy again, we're going in order. We get the questions, guys, so don't think we're neglecting you or holding you back. We do have like 5 or 6 questions here to answer. Thielen or Pittman? Can't believe I'm asking that, but Pittman ain't done shit. Well, you're not wrong on that, but this is the week Pittman should do some shit out there. The Jags defense isn't that good. I know they crushed the Colts like 4 weeks ago, but I just can't see that being another slaughtering. I think this could be
the Jags crushed the Colts in the game that they didn't play. In the game Pittman didn't play.
Yes. Yep. I was just about to say that. So play Pittman this week.
And I know Pittman hasn't looked great for fantasy, but he's still averaging 15 points per game. So he's doing something right. I know it hasn't been the same since week 1, but even since then, he's averaging like, I think 11 or 12. So
yeah,
should be fun.
Thank you, Gershon. We appreciate that. You're awesome too. Please join us every week, 8:30 a.m. to about 9:30, 10ish, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. If you enjoy the show, drop a like on YouTube, drop a like on Facebook. We'd appreciate that, guys. It really does help us. All right, now you can't see my face.
I know you're not just going to eye over Tony G's comment.
Oh, I'm going in order.
Don't worry, I don't know. I saw a jump to the bottom there.
It'll get read. You know who called though. Now you can't see our faces. Long question. Need some booms to make up for Wentz and Monty. Yuck. Kenneth Walker, Najee or Zeke at running back 2. Debo, Pickens, and Mike Williams for wideouts. What do you think? 3 running back this week. Keep it the way it is. So basically, are you saying who to play in your flex spot? My guess is you're saying or Zeke running back 2. I'm trying to figure out exactly what he's trying to say here. Out of the running backs, though, I think I'd play Kenneth Walker. I think he has the most upside. If you need,
I think he's saying he needs 1 running back, 1 receiver, and then 1 flex.
Okay. So let's do it like that then. If we need 1 running back, Kenneth Walker. You need a receiver, Debo. And if you need a flex, looking for pure boom. I mean, Mike Williams always has boom potential. I would play Mike Williams even if I don't like the matchup. Running
I
back.
would
He
pick
said running
every
back.
single
He
thing.
said running back 2. I think he just needs a running back 2. So in that case, Kenneth Walker.
Oh, got it. Yeah, Walker. Walker's
Okay.
all the upside there.
I just want to make sure we're answering your question correctly. If you only need a running back 2, Kenneth Walker. If you need another question answered, we will definitely answer it. But if you just need a running back 2 and those are the guys to choose from, choose Kenneth Walker. All right, Super C&B again with Fryermuth out. Who's my best option? PPR. Hayden Hurst, Irv Smith, Schultz, Evan Ingram, Conklin, Tanyan, Disley. I like Hayden Hurst the most out of them, especially if T. Higgins is injured and or out. Red zone potential. The Saints defense and offense is very nicked up. This could be a big game for the Bengals. I think I'll go with Hayden Hurst here. If you don't love Hayden Hurst, Disley's been building some steam with Geno Smith, and that could be another solid option.
Completely agree. That's what I was going to say.
Tully, Justin X. Should I start ETN, Dobbins, or Kenneth Walker? Go Kenneth Walker. We've been praising him on the show. Good matchup against the Cardinals. Should have a good week.
Yes, sir.
From Za again, Deion Jackson or Henderson in the flex. Play Henderson. The Panthers defense it's terrible. I don't even know who's coaching them today because Matt Rule's been fired. Play Henderson. This has to be the get right game for the Rams, and if it's not, then they're in a bigger trouble than I thought they would be.
The Rams said today they're going to use Darrell Henderson, Malcolm Brown, and Ronnie Rivers, and then Kyron Williams has a shot at playing as well. So they're rotating running backs back there. Indy has 2 running backs on their roster, Deion Jackson and Phillip Lindsay. He, at the minimum, should see a 50% snap share with Darrell Henderson. Is not guaranteed that. Lock in Deion Jackson.
I think Henderson actually.
I think I would have put him on my all boom team if it wasn't for the injury coming out so late in the week.
You know, I'm glad you're in on Deion Jackson because I'm 100% out, and I think I think it's a bad play. So I'm glad that we disagree on that. From Coffee Addict, Bills, Jags, or Patriots D. Play the Patriots D. I definitely wouldn't play the Bills D against Kansas City. That could be messy. Play the Patriots D. Like Jacoby Brissett. That's all I gotta say. I guess his former coach.
Yep, Patriots came off a shutout win against the quarterback they know very well, and Jared Goff. And Belichick knows Jacoby Brissett since he was on the roster for a while. So
this is my dad. He's a Jets fan, and I feel bad for him because he's never going to see his teams win anything. They're all so miserable.
You feel bad for him. I'm sorry. If I'm not mistaken, our team has a better record than your team at the moment.
Well, my team's terrible, and their defense is really bad. But I've seen
my team as an elite defense, and the offense gets the ball down the field.
They're losing by 8
they put
today.
Up 40 points.
They're losing by 8 today. They're going to lose by 8 today.
And what happens if they walk out of Lambeau 4-2?
Then I lose my survivor pool, and I'm going to be miserable, and I'm not talking football the rest of the day. I'm shutting off all my televisions.
I'm sorry, but we got to record tonight, so you will be talking football.
Oh, yeah, we'll wait till 12 o'clock to record. All right.
Just a little plug for tomorrow's episode.
All righty. Half PPR flex, Darrell Henderson or Devontae Smith. Nick doesn't like Henderson. I do like Henderson. I think he is going to get the volume here.
I'd play Henderson over Smith. I wouldn't play him over Deion Jackson, though.
Okay. How do you feel about starting Deion Jackson and Mike Boone over Najee?
I wouldn't start Mike Boone over Najee. I think Deion Jackson's a fair debate.
Yeah, I think I'm with you on that. I think Melvin Gordon's still the one over there. All right, Lex again. Kenneth Walker, Darrell Henderson, and PPR. Play Kenneth Walker. All in on Kenneth Walker. From one problem at a time, we're going to fix this problem for you. Kareem Hunt or Deontay Johnson. I think that's Deontay Johnson PPR. Deontay Johnson is still getting like 15 targets a game. Play Deontay Johnson. I'm a Kareem Hunt owner, and he's a bit frustrating.
Yeah, Hunt is very frustrating. It's all matchup dependent with him. I would go with Deontay's.
I think he's touchdown or bust a bit.
In full PPR.
Coffee Addict again. Should I flex Alec Pierce, Juju, or Pollard? Play Alec Pierce. They should throw the ball a bit more today. He looked good last week. I think they're starting to build some chemistry. I'd play Alec Pierce.
I agree.
From Kenson Paris, 2-3, 14-team PPR, and just traded away Fournette, Drake London, Michael Thomas, and Brian Robinson for Jonathan Taylor and CeeDee Lamb. I'm still weak at quarterback and tight end. I think
follow up in there.
Here's the follow up. 14 PPR. Derek Carr, Dak Prescott, Matthew Stafford. Okay. I'm gonna need your question, Kenson. I know you're typing as much as you can, but we're gonna wait until your question's in there, and then we can answer it for you. From Tully, again, I have Hockenson on bye. Should I grab Taysom Hill or more traditional tight end like Hayden Hurst, Irv Smith, Schertz, Ingram, et cetera, et cetera? I do like Hurst, but you know what? With all those receivers out in New Orleans, I think Taysom Hill has to do more work than normal, so I'd play Taysom Hill. Like, I think his touchdown potential is a lot higher than any other tight end.
I agree with that, but I do think T. Higgins is not going to play today. And in the last 2 games where T. Higgins got dinged up and was hurt, Hayden Hurst is averaging 14 points per game. He's got 10 catches over that span, close to 100 yards and 2 touchdowns. So I do think there's a lot more upside in playing Hayden Hurst this week. Even though I do think Taysom Hill week to week is going to be infuriating, but does present a lot of upside. I just don't think it's a good matchup for him.
All right. This is going to be a loaded question. So who should I trade away and for what? Okay, let's try to map this out. He's got Derek Carr, Dak Prescott, and Stafford at quarterback. I think you're fine there. Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs, Kenneth Walker. You look great at running back. Wide receivers, CeeDee Lamb, Debo, Romeo Doubs, George Pickens, and Dalton Schultz. I think you need a tight end. I don't know who's on your waiver wire tight end, but since it's a 14-team league, my guess is no. So I would go and see if you could trade for Darren Waller, maybe. And if you're going to trade for Darren Waller, maybe try to do you feel like Josh Jacobs is more, maybe Kenneth Walker and Romeo Doubs or something. Maybe something like that. I would try to go get either him or Kittle or somebody one of those mid-tier tight ends that hasn't produced as much. But Schultz, I'm dropping Schultz in all my leagues, and I was pretty high on him.
So there's a couple things I would look to do with your roster. I would trade away CeeDee Lamb because you will at some point with your current roster have to start Dak, Schultz, and CeeDee Lamb. And I do think that I do like Dalton Schultz once Dak comes back. I think too many people are forgetting we projected Dalton Schultz with Dak to finish as a top 5 tight end, right? Not just us. Fantasy analysts everywhere predicted them over Kittle and Waller to have a monster season. So let's not forget that. Let's remember that rest of season is still a thing. So even though he didn't look good with Cooper Rush, he can look better. I don't think CeeDee Lamb on a week-to-week basis has a lot of buy right now. A lot of people are looking to get him. So I do think you could trade for I think you can stack him with Josh Jacobs, for example, who just came off another high week. Get the pair of them for a monster receiver and a depth receiver, because at some point your starting lineup is going to have Romeo Doubs at the wide receiver too, and that you should try and pivot off of.
Okay. Thanks for that question. We appreciate that. We're answering all the questions. Drop likes on YouTube and Facebook. We appreciate that. Remember, the show is every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you to Sean. We appreciate seeing you every single week. We have about 5 or 6 questions here. So again, please be patient, guys. We are going to get to every single question. We're not skipping over you. I promise. Gershon, Ben Kamalen, PPR, Gabe Davis or Michael Pittman. I like this question a lot because I like them both this week. If you could only play one, I'm going to go with Gabriel Davis because Matt Ryan just looks really, really bad. And I know Josh Allen's the best quarterback in the league, arguably. He's going to throw a lot of balls today. Go with Gabriel Davis.
I'd go Pittman.
All right. Nick, are you on the Twitter, by the way, just in case we get questions over there?
Yes, I am.
Okay. Let's go to the next question from Tone. Jerry Jeudy or Christian Kirk and flex? Play Christian Kirk. Jeudy has he has a bad quarterback. He's not a bad matchup, but play Christian Kirk. He has a good matchup this week.
I completely agree. I'd ride with Kirk.
From Lucius, Tyler Boyd, Devontae Smith, or Brandon Ayuk. Thanks. 0.5 PPR. I think I'll go with Ayuk. The Falcons are really bad at football, and this could be a game where we see Ayuk break out a little bit. It's really tough to predict which 49er actually scores points every week. They're all talented, but they just don't all score. I think I like Ayuk, then Boyd if Higgins is out, and then Devontae Smith.
So I put Jamar Chase on my all-bust team, and then Nick notified me Marshawn Lattimore is out this week, which was fantastic news to hear after I said he's going to suck this week after sucking for 4 weeks. But T. Higgins will not be playing. I can't see it happening. I think Tyler Boyd is a lock in your lineup.
Kenton, yes, I would do a 2-for-1. You have a lot of talent on your team. Trade 2 of your mid-tier guys for a star or something. Rudy says, okay, in another league, I got Sutton, DK, Pittman, Brandon Cooks, Olave. Olave's not going to play, unfortunately, and Ramondre. Who should I flex and who should I put at wide receiver 1 and 2? Thanks for answering the questions. You're awesome. Thank you. You are awesome. Thanks for joining every week. So I think we need 2 receivers here from reading correctly. Let's lock in Cortland Sutton and let's lock in DK Metcalf in a good matchup. This is actually pretty easy, but let's flex Michael Pittman. Let's just play all 3 receivers. I do like Stevenson this week, so maybe I bench Sutton, but I really want to play Pittman and DK. Russell Wilson's throwing him the ball. Russell Wilson looks horrible. Like Sutton's talented, but Russell Wilson looks horrendous right now.
Sutton's still like a top 12 receiver on the year, though, right?
But Russell Wilson looks really bad and doesn't have a shoulder at this point, and he has Nathaniel Hackett as his head coach.
I'm still rocking with Sutton. I got no problem with it. I'm not dying on the hill because he's well outperformed his ADP so far, but I'd go Sutton number 1, DK number 2, and then it's between Pittman and Stevenson. I'd roll out Pittman, but I do think there's a very good chance that Stevenson pulls off.
I think Stevenson has a really great game. I'd love to know who your running backs are in case you could start Stevenson.
Yep.
From Blaze again, thoughts on DJ Moore? Confident he's getting shipped out of Carolina. I actually am confident he gets shipped out. They might blow up everything, but Nick, what are your thoughts on DJ Moore this week? Because in case you didn't listen to the show, Blaze, on Friday, Nick has some thoughts on DJ Moore.
I have been the most accurate analyst on DJ Moore out of everywhere. I said he was ranked to be drafted in between 12 and 15. I said he's not finishing inside the top 24 at wide receiver. I said he's going to suck with Baker Mayfield at the helm. And this is the first week where I feel confident starting him. Last year with PJ Walker at quarterback, and I know we don't like PJ Walker, but with PJ Walker at quarterback, DJ Moore combined for averaged 9 catches a game and 80 yards per game. So this has been the safest that he's been with a quarterback since last year. It was over a 5-game stretch as well. So it was 400 yards, 45 catches over that span. It's the best quarterback that DJ Moore has probably had in his career. So I like playing Moore this week. I think he's got the good matchup. He's got the upside of that reconnection. And if he finds the end zone, which he hasn't been, or I think he has only done once, he has the upside of a 20-plus point game.
Okay. I agree with all that, by the way. Coffee Addict, I know this may be stupid, but there's never a stupid question on this show unless you're asking, like, should I start Christian McCaffrey or should I start some random third-string running back? Who has a better chance to have a big game? Kirk Cousins or Justin Herbert? I don't think this is a stupid question at all. Did you bust Herbert? I forget.
I have Herbert on my old bust.
Nick has Herbert on his bust team. I almost did as well. The Broncos defense is ferocious. It's bad. Bad in a good way. Like, you don't want to play a quarterback against them. I think Kirk Cousins has a better game this week. The Dolphins don't have a great offense, a great defense. And Kirk Cousins has a really good offense over there. So I think Kirk Cousins actually has more upside than Justin Herbert. But I think Herbert has the safer floor per se. I think Kirk is a little bit boom bust. You're either getting 12 points or you're getting close to 30, where Herbert, I think you're looking at like 14, 15.
Nick, do you want to know who the biggest lock in all of fantasy football is?
Who?
It's 1 o'clock Kirk Cousins. That is Patrick Mahomes right there. You play Kirk Cousins at 1 o'clock. I do think Herbert has a tough matchup, and he hasn't shown any boom yet. He hasn't scored more than 24 points. His current QB 8 on the year. You drafted him to be the QB 2. I know he hasn't looked as good since the injury. I think he's only averaging like 15, 16, 17 points since. So I'm comfortable benching Herbert against the best defense in football for Kirk Cousins going up against Miami, who lets up a lot of points to the quarterback.
All right. Kenneth Walker and Pickens both have enough to get someone decent back. Yeah, that's true. All right. John Wells, I love this one. Geno Smith over Herbert this week. Down goes Cap. Go Hawks, baby. Go Geno Smith.
In our 14-person league, me and him are tied at 4-1 for the 1 seed right now.
Interesting.
So, and I think only 4 teams, I want to say, make the playoffs out of it. So,
yeah, I think you told me that. That's pretty
It
bad.
is very, very important that you win these top-tier matchups. And you got bailed out yesterday on Thursday because Brian Robinson got a cheap touchdown when they went down at the 1-yard line. You know, at 55.9 up until then, so let's calm down a little bit. But we'll see. He got lucky because he's got me on Josh Jacobs with the bye, Jonathan Taylor with the injury, Derek Carr with the on the bye, and T Higgins with the injury. So you got bailed out a little bit there. I'm not gonna lie, but that ain't gonna stop my team from pulling off the upset.
All right, from Tully, I've been screwed over at quarterback all year. Had Dak week 1, ouch. Matt Ryan week 2, ouch. Mariota, Teddy. Now I'm going with Daniel Jones. Good or
now
bad
I'm
pick?
going to bench Daniel Jones knowing that you're playing him after these poor
You know
weeks.
what? I don't hate Daniel Jones this week. The Ravens have been a bad defense this year. They produced a lot of great weeks to wide receivers and quarterbacks. I don't think that's a bad play. I wish you had like Geno Smith or somebody, but I don't think that he's a bad play this week.
So I actually do really like Daniel Jones. His floor so far the season has been 14.5 points. the most impressive part about what he's doing is he has 41 rushing attempts so far this year. So he's running the ball like a madman right now. He's looked very, very good on the ground. He just has not had a passing touchdown in 3 weeks. And that was against Dallas, tough defense. Chicago actually does have a very good and well-coached defense. And then in London, which is all a very weird game. I'm surprised he didn't get one there. But that was his worst fantasy day of the season. So now going up against Baltimore, who is not good against the quarterbacks, I think this is a very, very good matchup.
Okay. Going to Pan A. Love the Yankees, Cap. Don't love the Yankees right now. I'm very upset. Morning, guys. Need to start to Joe, block that comment, please. Need to start 0.5 PPR. AJ Dillon, Deion Jackson, Travis Etienne, or Jacoby Myers. I love Jacoby Myers. I'm a Jacoby Myers guy, and I just traded him away, but I got Justin Jefferson back. So, yes, I needed to do that trade. I do like Jacoby Myers no matter who the quarterback is. So let's lock in Jacoby Myers. Then I want upside. Nick's going to say Deion Jackson. I'm going to say Travis Etienne, who's looked much better than James Robinson over the past 3 weeks. And people are starting to believe in Travis Etienne. He could be that late season league winner. So I'm going to go Travis Etienne.
I cannot justify playing Travis Etienne over Deion Jackson. I don't think there's an argument you could give me where I would justify.
My argument is that Deion Jackson is splitting carries to Phillip Lindsay and going up against a Jags defense that's very tough against running backs.
Okay, and Travis Etienne is splitting with James Robinson, who's going up against the Colts, who are even better against the running back position.
I don't think so. I think
they have a better front seven. Like it's a terrible matchup for Etienne. Etienne's looked bad all year. I think he had his worst game of the year against these guys 4 weeks ago. There's no argument you could give that's pro Etienne over Jackson for me. I'd lock in Jackson and Jacoby Myers.
I just gave you one though. I'm looking for this tweet that really sold me on getting off this Deion Jackson train. Let me see if I could find it real quick. It's something I posted on the Primetime Fantasy Podcast Twitter account last night. Actually,
last week at Denver, 13 carries for 62 yards, including 4 catches for 29. 13-point fantasy day without finding the end zone against one of the best defenses in football. Now going up against Jacksonville.
I really want to find this tweet because I think it's important.
That tweet stinks.
It does not stink at all. It's actually a very informative tweet. Come on, Nick. Yeah, Nick, talk about one of these games while I find this tweet.
All right, so we started, and then we got a lot of the questions, so we'll go back to the schedule program. San Francisco at Atlanta. Robbie Gould, kicker, off the injury report. But as Nick said earlier, we do not like playing kickers coming off an injury with an injury. Like there's so many other players to pivot to. There's no point in just starting them. And then Kyle Pitts expected to play, but he does have a hamstring injury. Hamstrings are one of the biggest lingering injuries in all of football. We're both off of Kyle Pitts this week. We do not like playing him. Nick, I will ask you, who is your MVP for the day, your sleeper, and your bust?
In that San Francisco game, my MVP is going to be whatever 49er scores the most fantasy points. I don't have a player because they don't decide who they want to score the most fantasy points before the day starts. I'll go with Kittle. Like this has to be a Kittle breakout game at some point. A sleeper, Brandon Ayuk. A bust, Drake London. I do have the tweet. This is from Debro_FFB, one of my favorite follows on fantasy Twitter. He says, yes, Deion Jackson is an RB3 for me. Jacksonville, 8th lowest rush success rate, 6th lowest rushing yards, 14th lowest explosive run rate allowed. This is not a good matchup. He will split the work with Lindsay. We're guessing who gets the red zone work, assuming the Colts don't pass in the red zone. On top of that, Deion Jackson and Phillip Lindsay utilization in week 5 without Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines. Snaps 58-38, rush attempts 50-42, route perception 49-25, 11-11. Like Jackson's the better play than Lindsay, but it's not a slam dunk. So I'm just saying I'm not putting him in my lineup and comfortable with it. You're banking on a touchdown.
The Denver Broncos currently ranked 9th against the running back position, and I'll just give it as a straight shot, where Jacksonville ranks 24th. So to put it in short, teams that play against Jacksonville or running backs average a top 10 matchup, and against the Broncos average a bottom 10 matchup. Very simply put. Put up 13 against the tough defense, now gets an easy defense, has the guaranteed workload. is the RB1 over there for the time being. You have to start him.
All right, we'll keep talking about it. I'm a bot. I hope you're not a bot. You're asking a legitimate question. Deion Jackson, who we're just talking about, or Raheem Mostert, full PPR. I love Mostert this week. Love the matchup. I love that he's healthy and playing well. Play Mostert.
I would play Mostert as well, but both are good plays. Let's see who your other pivots are.
From Sky Empire, who should I start? Full PPR, Melvin Gordon or Darrell Henderson? Play Melvin Gordon. I have in my old boom team. Russell Wilson looks horrendous, so I really think they have to run the ball a bit. And the Chargers have allowed the most fantasy points to running backs. They're number one in allowing points to running backs. They're not good at football and not good at playing against running backs. So play Melvin Gordon.
Completely agree.
All right. From Brooks Durham, I think that's an Oregon Ducks logo. I think that's a throwback. That's pretty cool. For tight end spot in PPR league, trust Taysom Hill over Kittle, and for flex, Gabe Davis over both of them. Play Kittle and play Gabriel Davis.
Yeah, I agree.
From Ryan Mahoney, how do you think Henderson will do this week?
You skipped one.
Oops, I'll go back. I was considering picking up Akers to stash him, but I would have had to drop Alec Pierce. Someone else picked up Akers. Did I make the right decision? Yeah, I think so.
I agree. I would keep Alec Pierce over Akers.
All right. How do you think Henderson will do this week? I definitely play him over Palmer, even with Keenan out in PPR, right? Yes, I do. He has the guaranteed workload. It could be a tough matchup for the receivers over at the Chargers. So play Henderson.
Yep, I agree.
Sky Empire, Eagles or Vikings defense. Play the Eagles defense. I have them in a league, and I'm not super duper worried about the Cowboys scoring a ton of points because the Cowboys don't score a ton of points. Cooper Rush has been a good game manager, but I'm not super worried. As for the Vikings, if Teddy B is playing, like he's not a bad quarterback, and there's a lot of talent on that Dolphins offense.
I agree. I'd play the Eagles.
Deion Jackson or Rondale Moore full PPR. I'll say Deion Jackson has more upside.
Deion Jackson has the higher floor and the higher upside.
All right. Thank you guys for all the questions. We're going to keep going. We're at 47 minutes, but if questions keep coming in, we're going to go over an hour. We'll go an hour and a half if you guys keep sending in those questions. If you're watching live, please drop a like on Facebook. If you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, please drop a like on the video. We'd appreciate that. Send out the link to your friends. We do the show 8:30 a.m. every single Sunday. It's a lot of fun on our YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. The shows during the week are Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. You can find those on all audio streaming platforms, Spotify, Apple, Anchor, Google. And you can also find those shows on YouTube if you'd rather watch and listen to the show. Until we get more questions, we're going to keep running through the games. We're kind of just going to recap some injuries, maybe talk about a player or two that we like because we do want to get through each game. So let's go to New England at Cleveland. This is a really tough game to predict because Mac Jones traveled with the team and he's questionable. I think Belichick's just messing with us. I think Zeppi's going to start. Jacoby Myers with the knee is questionable. He's going to play. Damian Harris is questionable with a hamstring injury that Tom Pelissero, I believe, said was going to keep him out for a couple of weeks. They say he's going to test it pregame. I think Belichick is just messing with the Browns. I don't think Harris is going to play. And if Harris does not play, Ramondre Stevenson is a really great play this week. So, Nick, your thoughts about this game and what's a glaring fantasy take that you have from this one?
Belichick knows the Cleveland Browns. He used to coach there. He hates the organization. And he's going to do everything that he can to absolutely smoke and shut them out, just like he did the Detroit Lions last week. I think New England has the better matchup. I think they're a much better player. And in my opinion, I think they're going to shut down the Cleveland Browns this week. I think it's going to be a bad week for all those guys over there. I don't think there's a single Brown outside of Nick Chubb that I'd feel comfortable starting, and I do think Nick Chubb has a lot of bust potential this week.
Yeah, I think you have to start Chubb, but I said it this week on our Friday show. I think you have to, temper your expectations for Chubb because the Belichick takes away the number one option from the Browns, and Chubb is kind of touchdown dependent. I know he's getting 100 yards, but I think he's forecasted today for 70 yards and maybe a touchdown. So you're looking at 13 fantasy points or so, which isn't bad, but it's not a boom game at all. So you still play him, but if you guys have questions, keep asking them in the chat. We will keep answering them until we get out of here. So the New York Jets at the Packers, there was no injuries, but I also don't really like a lot of players in this game. I like Aaron Jones. I like Breece Hall, and that's kind of it. I'll play Aaron Rodgers if I have to, but that's really all I like from this one.
I'm forced to play Zach Wilson this week, and I don't love it, but it is what it is. I do think he has a lot of upside. I do think he has some upside, not a lot of upside, but the Jets are walking out with a win. That's all I got to say.
I will be miserable if that happens. I really will.
I hate to make you miserable. I would go change your Green Bay pick because that's a terrible pick.
Nope.
I would take New England over Cleveland.
Nope. I want to save New England. They have the Jets in a couple weeks.
I don't do that. What's wrong with you? You are a Jets hit, dude.
No, I'm not. No. I am smart. The Jets are not going to win a lot of football games.
I bailed you out from picking Miami last week. I don't want to hear it.
I wasn't going to pick Miami last week.
Oh, you were saying it. I don't know.
No, we're joking about it. I have my Survivor thing in my phone. Like, I was never picking Miami.
I think it's
the Vikings locked in.
I honestly think it's a big mistake not playing New England instead of the
I could save New England. They have better games.
Oh,
I also think it's a sliver of a chance that the Browns win. I don't think that the Jets go into Lambeau and win. If this game's in MetLife, maybe I'm a tiny bit worried. But
then I would use Tampa over Pittsburgh. No,
Tampa has a matchup against Seattle in a couple weeks. I'm playing the matchups. I'm not going to use the Packers if I don't use them this week.
I think you're messing up.
I'm not gonna use the Packers if I don't use them this week.
I'm going to laugh if you are miserable for the
next. You genuinely think the Jets are winning this game?
I think the Jets have a lot more potential to win this game than the Browns do, than the Carolina Panthers. They're not going to beat the Rams this week.
But the Rams have Seattle twice.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter because I can only use the team
Seahawks
once.
Can upset the Rams.
No, they can't. No,
yes,
they cannot.
Nope. Absolutely.
They're getting
the Rams
demolished.
Have the worst offensive football at the moment. Of course they can.
The Seahawks.
You're making
really
a mistake.
Bad.
You're making a mistake.
I will see about
Just
that.
warning you.
Napoleon Robinson, Michael Gallup, or Romeo Doubs in the flex. Yuck.
I'd play Gallup.
I would play Dobbs. Yeah, I don't love it. I don't love it. NBA Rome. Start 2. Kamara. Well, let's stop there. We're always starting Kamara. So Jeff Wilson or Darrell Henderson. Play Jeff Wilson. Do you have a different take?
I'm playing Jeff Wilson and Alvin Kamara.
Okay. Mostert or Michael Gallup in my last flex. Play Mostert. Even half PPR, play Mostert. From Isaac Bubis. I don't want to mispronounce that. I'm sorry. Which one should I start? I have one running back, one flex available. Travis Etienne, Darrell Henderson, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I'm not a Clyde guy, but I'm going Clyde and Henderson here. There's going to be a lot of points scored in that Chiefs game.
Absolutely agree.
All right. Jacksonville at the Colts. Jonathan Taylor and Naheem Hines are out. Nick's spoken a lot about Deion Jackson. I don't even think we need to speak about him anymore. Marvin Jones at the hamstring is out. So if you're in a really deep league, Jamal Agnew's a very sneaky play. Do want to note that. Just had to make sure the decision was still the same. Says FETN. That's funny. All right. Do you have any other thoughts on the Jacksonville Colts game? You like Alec Pierce. You may want to say something about Alec Pierce. Yeah, you like Alec Pierce a lot.
We both like Alec Pierce a lot. Matt Ryan kept looking.
You like him a lot more than I do. I don't dislike him. I'm more so like I think he's a decent play, but you like him a lot.
In a very tough matchup against the Broncos, Matt Ryan had a lot more trust in Alec Pierce than he did Michael Pittman. I'm not saying I'd take Alec Pierce over Pittman the rest of the season, but I'm saying I do think that he is a very good flex option or negotiating guy.
Uh-oh. Wow. Cap, you're so high on Jackson for someone who picked him up and then dropped him for Lindsay. Wow. He's calling.
I only did that because I didn't want anyone else to play him. He wasn't going to make the run. You want to hear my lineup in that league, Joe, since you want to do a little chirping for a guy that I think is in last place in that league?
Uh-oh.
Right. Our moderator chose to use his little voice. All right. So here's the lineup I got going into this week. Jalen Hurts, Aaron Jones, Breece Hall, Justin Jefferson, Tyreek Hill, Gerald Everett, Mike Evans, Cortland Sutton. Damian Pierce is on bye. On my bench, Isaiah McKenzie, Eno Benjamin, DeAndre Swift on the IR, Jahan Dotson. Where is Deion Jackson going to fit? Deion Jackson wouldn't even make my IR. If one of my guys come off the IR, he's getting cut. I picked him up so no one else could play him this week. Hate to tell you that, but guess what? Be a little quicker and you could have started him, and then you wouldn't have to worry about the top dog in the league.
Oh, man. From Tully says, Jets are going to win. Packers aren't very good. They've only beaten the Bears with any authority this season, and the Bears held them to 3 points in the second half. You're not wrong. I'm just saying this is almost like a legacy game for Aaron Rodgers.
Think about it like this, right?
If Rodgers loses to the Jets at Lambeau,
what is
retire.
The percent that you think that Green Bay wins, right? Like if you had to
90%.
Okay.
90. I would put money on Green Bay.
Do you think that there's more than a 10% chance that Cleveland beats them?
I think Cleveland has a 30-40% chance of winning that game.
Oh God, that's a terrible take. Okay.
It's not.
Do you think Carolina has better than a 10% chance to beat the Rams?
No, but I want the Rams later in the season.
Terrible. No,
I won't
take
use
the Rams.
Packers
Do you think the
again.
Pittsburgh Steelers have more than a 10% chance to beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers?
The Bucs only have 1 or 2 games that I actually want to use them in.
This is one of them.
No, it's not. They have Seattle.
The Packers are going to have the
Seattle.
Lions and the Bears again. There's a better time to play the Packers.
They have the Bears in a week that I want to use, I think, the Rams
You're
something.
worrying about weeks ahead. There's a very good shot that they upset them here.
Nope.
There's a better shot than you're willing to let on.
Nope.
If we weren't calling them the New York Jets and you just analyze them as a football team, or let's say they were the Pittsburgh
I would take the Packers. I would take
the
how many teams in the league? 32. The Packers off this loss last week, coming home to Lambeau and angry Aaron Rodgers. I would take the Packers over like 25 teams in the league.
You're crazy.
No, I'm not. Rodgers won't lose this game.
Out of every game, you're saying this is the safest one right now.
I'm not saying it's the safest, but I'm saying if I have to use one team each week, I'm saying it's a good choice. I can't use the Rams again, though.
They
have Seattle. They have Seattle twice.
Seattle has a better shot of beating the Rams than
they don't.
Than the Carolina Panthers do. Than the Panthers do. The Seahawks have a better chance than the Panthers at beating the Rams.
I have watched Jared Goff beat the Seahawks by 30 points.
You're messing up, Nick. I'm telling you. You're making a big mistake.
I'm gonna look like a real idiot on the show tomorrow if the Jets win. Just saying. But if they win by 8, which I do have them in my pool, I'm gonna tell you that I was right. I'm just saying.
You might be right, but it's a bigger risk. It's not worth
I don't think it's a
bad
risk.
strategy.
I'm not sweating it at all.
Can we put like a poll in the chat? Is there a way we can?
No, I don't think so.
That?
Nick Barone, Jerry Jeudy, Chris Godwin, AJ Brown, Tyler Lockett start 2. That's really tough. Play Chris Godwin and AJ Brown.
Yeah, I would roll with those two as well.
Okay. Isaac Bubis, rate my team. So I guess we're going to give you a letter grade A to F or something. Mahomes, Chubb, Allaire, Evans, Amon-Ra, Waller, Keenan Allen, D-Hop, McPherson, Jags defense. I'm giving you like a strong B+. It's a pretty solid team. I mean, they're all playing very well for the most part. It's a really solid team.
Yep, couldn't agree more. And when Waller or D-Hop come back, I mean, not Waller, Allen or D-Hop
Allen.
come back.
I personally stayed away from Allen like the entire preseason, and this was kind of why. But aside from that, yeah, especially with Hopkins coming back. Okay. Joe, you cannot pick up a player that was just dropped, by the way. That's why Nick did it. Here's Tyler with Sal Vulcano as his profile picture. Love Sal. I just traded away Derrick Henry for Josh Jacobs, Amon-Ra, and San Francisco defense. Win or loss. I would need to see your team. Initially, I want to say a win, but man, it's really hard to trade away Derrick Henry right now. But I'll give you a win on this one because you got good value back.
Yeah, I got the same thing. Got to see the rest of the roster. Like if you needed the depth, obviously it's a great trade. But if you needed star power, then it wasn't worth it.
All right, let's keep talking about these games. Minnesota at Miami. Tua's out. Looks like he's going to play next week against the Steelers on Sunday Night Football. That's a really fun storyline. Looks like Teddy B is going to start, clear concussion protocol. Raheem Mostert with the knee injuries questionable, should play. Jalen Waddle with a groin injury was removed from the injury report, and Tyreek Hill with a foot and quad injury removed from the injury report. I think this could be a really offensive game. I think this could be a very fantasy-friendly game in the 1 o'clock slate.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's nobody that I want to bench, really.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, we can move on from that.
Yeah.
Cincinnati. Another thing. Alexander Madison's banged up, so maybe we get more Dalvin Cook work this week. Cincinnati Bengals at the New Orleans Saints. Let's start with the Bengals side. T. Higgins's ankle is questionable. Testing it pregame. I don't love his chances. We'll see. Again, wait till like 11, 12 o'clock to make that decision. Hayden Hurst with a groin injury is questionable. He should play. Michael Thomas with toe injuries out. Marshawn Lattimore is out, I think, with a thyroid or something. It's a weird injury.
Just real quick, because I see Jameis is next. There was an update on him. He is going to be active today, but he's going to be the emergency quarterback, so they're not going to be playing him. So if you do have Jameis or you are planning to play him, keep in mind he's not the starter, so pull him from your lineup.
Dalton is starting. Good call. Chris Olave with a concussion. He's questionable. He's not expected to play. And Jarvis Landry is also out. Maybe an ankle injury. We got a question. We got some questions. Let's talk about the questions first. From Darius Ralston. 2 questions. We can answer them. Zeke or A.J. Dillon and Pickens. The question is Pickens, Lazard, Juju, and Garrett Wilson. 2 flex spots. Let's play Zeke because I think he's still technically the starter and we'll get more workload than A.J. Dillon will. So let's play Zeke. And then for your second one, I keep going to the Juju well, and I shouldn't, but it's going to be a high-scoring game. Let's go Juju.
Yeah, I'm going to the Juju well as well.
It's not a fun well to be in. Gershon says Eagles D or Jags. I think I have both of them in leagues, and I think I would go with the Eagles. I mean, Cooper Rush, he's winning games, but he's not winning them with 20 plus points. So this could be a defensive matchup. So play the Eagles D.
The Jags defense looks a little inflated and is getting a lot of hype because of how they shut down the Colts last time. But last time Michael Pittman was not playing, so they were only able to get the ball down the field by running it because they didn't have trust in Alec Pierce either yet. So I think the Eagles is a better play than the
I think
Jags.
Pierce may have had a concussion or something then too. I forget if he played, honestly.
Yeah, he did. He did. He had a concussion. So
from Rudy again, I hate the fact that I might have to put in Judy. Pray for Russ. Let's ride. I have to play Russ. So you know what? Pray for me and my team. That's 1-4, and I have to play Russ in. He's so bad. And the reports coming out about his personality, like Marshawn Lynch basically said on Sherman's podcast that he has to call Russ's agent to get his phone number to set up like a call between friends. That's not great. So Isaac Bubis, is Aaron Rodgers, Fournette, and Gibson for Connor, Mahomes, and Sanders a good trade? I mean, you're getting Mahomes as upgrade over Rodgers.
Yes, very good trade.
Yeah, I would do that trade. I would do it.
You upgrade at 2 of the 3.
Hilaire or Sanders. I think you would say get Hilaire back. Or who would you want? Pick 2 running backs: Connor, Hilaire, and Sanders.
Connor, Hilaire, and Sanders.
Yeah, pick 2 running backs for his trade.
He doesn't have Clyde.
He's saying. Look at the next note.
Oh, I don't know if he's saying if that's for the trade or who would we rather start.
Yeah. I think he's saying for the trades. Same question.
Okay. If you're get Hilaire, not Sanders.
Yeah. Go Mahomes, Hilaire, and Connor, if you can. Yep. Should I trade Stevenson and Olave for St. Brown? Yes. Stevenson's value, I think, is going to decrease when Damian Harris comes back. I would do this if you can.
I would hold off because I do think Stevenson's showing a lot more promise, and it is a hamstring injury, so there might be 3, 4, 5 weeks. And so Amon-Ra has not looked good in the last 2 or 3 games. I know he's been lingered by injury as well. And I do think you're selling Olave at a low. I do think that there's more value you can get than St. Brown. But I mean, you would win the trade, but I think you can win bigger.
All right. That's fair. I think the first season in the dumps, but Russ might be good towards the end of the season. He might. I hope so. I still love him, but he's just playing really, really bad right now. Just calling it like it is.
Yeah. I agree. I think he can turn it around, but it's not only on Hackett. There is a lot of blame that goes on him.
They're all playing. The receivers are dropping balls too. They're not playing well.
Not so.
From Jay Hay, standard flex, pick 1. Sutton or Darrell Henderson or AJ Dillon. Starting Russ and Aaron Jones. Starting Russ kind of sucks, but play Sutton.
Sutton.
All right.
Yep.
From Randy Miller, London versus banged up 49ers, Thielen versus Dolphins. Play Thielen. Like, I don't want to play Falcons. I really don't. The 49ers defense is excellent.
Yeah, don't play Drake London. It's the better plays.
Oh, it's not for the trade, just opinion. He's saying so I guess Hilaire or Sanders. Rest of season or today? I think he means today. If it's today, Hilaire. Rest of season, I think Miles Sanders. I know you don't like Miles Sanders, but
you just want to end our friendship on today's show. I think that's your goal, your end goal. You
I
say that take the Rams in your spread pool. It's Clyde Edwards-Hilaire for both. It's not close.
All right, from Tully, they should have kept Vic Fangio. Maybe
100% agree with.
They should hire Sean Payton. That's what they should do. He. I just saw a report that he wants to either coach, I think, the Chargers or Dallas. I think.
There was a lot of Dallas rumors before he left. Yeah. I do think it's going to be because they're too good to fire McCarthy and what's his face? Jerry Jones is too stingy. I think it's going to be Denver or Chargers. And if I had to guess, he lives in LA at the moment. I think he's going to stay there if he has the shot.
Jerry Jones is also really the head coach and general manager of the Cowboys. That's why he likes McCarthy, because he's a puppet. All right.
Yep.
From Randy Miller, did I win this? I received Walker and London for Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Terry. It depends on who your tight end was/is, but if you had a solid tight end, I don't love this move. I would have rather had
Edwards-Helaire. Tight end? I think it's Kenneth Walker and Drake London.
Crap. Yeah, you're right. I read that as Waller. It's early, guys. I'm sorry. Kenneth Walker and Drake London for Clyde Edwards-Helaire and Terry. I think I still would have had Clyde and Terry, though.
I would have kept Clyde and Terry, but I mean, those are two safe floor guys, and you traded for high upside guys.
Yeah, they will have high upside. They're going to play a lot.
Yeah.
London is just a matchup nightmare right now when it comes to the quarterback and the team that they're facing. So I love London's talent, but I don't love his quarterback at all. I wish I had a better quarterback. Yeah. I'm trying to look up. Rudy's just telling us about trades. Rudy said traded Cooks for Amon-Ra. That's a wonderful trade for you. I have Fournette and Brees and Cordell as my running backs. That's a great team. From Hassan, Judy, Ayuk, Isaiah McKenzie. Who should I start? Let's go with Ayuk.
I would go with Isaiah McKenzie here.
Okay. For which running back could I trade DeAndre Hopkins and Jamal Williams for?
Oh, that's a good one. So my first question, and I did this in my league, was go look to who owns DeAndre Swift and go trade them Jamal Williams.
That's what I was going to say, yeah.
That's what I did because I moved Jamal Williams and I forget. Let me take a look. It was in our league, actually. But I saw the guy that had Swift, and with the injuries, he has been one of the best handcuffs. So let me know who.
I think Aaron Jones is a really favorable trade target if you could go get him. His stats aren't jumping off the stat sheet. I think he's a running back that you could trade for right now. Look for anybody that's had a bad week in the last week or two.
Yeah. So I traded Juju and Jamal Williams to that owner for Michael Thomas and Devin Singletary. So Juju, I didn't trust the rest of the season. Michael Thomas averaging 18 points when he's healthy, and then I needed a running back this week because I can't afford to lose to the Jets hater across the podcast room.
All right. Do you recommend trying to trade Kamara if he has another high scoring week? If you're going to trade Kamara, just make sure you get a star back. I don't love trading Kamara because he's your star, but if you do, make sure you get a star or a decent package back. Don't trade him for a bag of chips. Yes.
Once Jameis Winston's fully healthy, he's taking over, and Kamara has not had a single good game with Jameis Winston as quarterback.
That is true. All right. That's all the questions we have for now, but if you keep asking them, we're going to keep answering them. I don't think you have to get out of here, right? You're good for now.
No, I'm good.
All right. So we're going to try to go to 10. We're going to talk about the rest of these games and answer your questions. If you keep asking them, we're going to stay live until you stop asking questions. So if you're on Facebook or YouTube, please give us a like. If you're on Twitter, you could retweet, drop a like, all that other fun stuff. We'd appreciate that as well. Remember, we do the show every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We have a lot of fun with it. And our shows during the week are on Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, all audio streaming platforms and on YouTube. All right, we were talking about Cincinnati and New Orleans. I was talking about all the injuries. With that said, I do like Taysom Hill this week because there's nobody else over there on New Orleans. And sneaky play I was thinking about, I like the Bengals defense. They haven't allowed a touchdown in the second half the entire season. They're playing Andy Dalton, so maybe it's a Dalton revenge game technically, but he's not throwing to anybody. I don't hate the Bengals defense this week. I think if you're stuck in a rut with a defense, I don't think they're a bad play.
I agree with that.
For the Bengals, I do like just about everybody, by the way. I feel bad for Nick because every time he says something negative about Jamar Chase, he craps on him. And I think it's going to happen again this week. I don't want to see my friend make a bad take, but
kind of like you saying the Jets are more likely to win than the Cleveland Browns, or less likely to win than the Cleveland Browns at New England.
I'll put a Wendy's meal on this that the Packers have a larger margin of victory than the Patriots do today. The Packers win by more points than the Patriots do. I will.
I won't do Wendy's that because the Patriots don't have the upside of putting up 40 points in a game. But you know what? Fuck it, let's do it. Yeah,
either do that, or do that. One of them covers the spread. So I think the Packers cover the
you
spread.
have my Venmo, so you know where.
All right, we got $10. We got $10 on this. All right, this will be fun. All right, Randy says Irv Smith or Knox. Play Irv Smith. I think Knox hasn't looked like he did last year, which is disappointing. But play Irv Smith.
What other tight ends are out on your waiver wire?
Yeah, let us know. I mean, this sounds like the waiver wire to me.
I'd play Knox because there is more touchdown upside in the matchup, but I wouldn't want to play.
I was so high on Knox last year. I just felt like he didn't. This year, he hasn't. I don't think he scored a touchdown yet.
Yeah.
So, all right. Let's go to Tully. Now you can't see my face. Long question. I traded Devontae Adams and Myers for Fournette and Debo in a double flex PPR 10-man league. Does that mean it's 2 points?
2 flex.
Oh, double flex. Okay. Okay, cool. Thought I made up pretty well considering Adams is on bye and will probably get suspended. I don't know if he's going to get suspended, but I don't think that's a bad trade. Fournette looks good right now. If Rachaad White is on your waiver wire, please go pick him up. You're going to want that handcuff. But aside from that, I don't think he made a bad trade.
I don't think Devontae will get suspended up until after the case is settled.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But I do think a suspension is coming for him. I do like the trade because I think Debo is very comparable to Devontae Adams on a week-to-week basis, and Fournette is a clear upgrade over Jacoby Myers. So I do think you made out like a bandit on that one.
Pick one rest of season, Tom Brady or Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins is going to play games in prime time. So, yeah, Brady.
Give me Brady.
Okay, well, where are we up to now? Baltimore Ravens at the New York Giants. The Giants have looked like a decent football team, but they're not a good fantasy football team. And Rashad Bateman's out with a foot injury for Baltimore. I like Mark Andrews, and I like Saquon Barkley and Lamar Jackson, and that's it. I told a couple people that Slayton was a better play than ones they had, so I don't think Slayton's the worst play in the world, but I don't love it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
All right. Isaac goes, should I trade Chubb for McCaffrey?
100%.
If you can. I don't think
straight up, absolutely.
I don't think that trade gets accepted, but if you can, yes. From Joe, who gets suspended first, Devontae or Kamara? Kamara's hearing's in November, like beginning of November, so I think it depends on Devontae's hearing date.
I think Kamara's is getting pushed back, no?
I thought I saw that too. I don't know. I don't really get into the...
They will both be suspended for week 1 next year. Kamara will have a longer suspension.
Yeah, makes sense. From Randy again, this may sound crazy, but if Higgins plays, do I play him over Thielen?
Nope.
I saw a tweet the other day, really good tweet. I wish I remembered who it was from. And it said,
I know who it's from.
Oh, it is? Can you pull it up, please, so I give him credit? I'm going to read the tweet out, and Nick's going to give credit. So
I saw the tweet.
Okay, so the
it's
tweet,
Sal Vetri.
What is it?
Sal Vetri.
From Sal Vetri, he says, welcome to week 6. Either T. Higgins going to get you a goose egg if you play him, or he's going to have the best week of his career if you bench him.
It's a different tweet we're talking about, but
I'm playing him.
Vetri's a good analyst. Go follow him as well.
What does that tweet say? Out of curiosity.
It was I gotta find it because he tweets out a lot, but it was about Adam Thielen's stats so far and how he's the biggest outlier and pretty much in fantasy to this point.
Well, I'll keep talking and you can find that tweet. Yeah. From who? Who is it? I don't know. Just made a trade. Jeff Wilson, Cortland Sutton, Cordell Patterson, and Ezekiel Elliott. So that's who he traded away for DeAndre Swift and Damian Pierce. Who won the trade? It's not in PPR. I think you gave up a little too much. I love the guys you got back. I really do. I also like getting Jeff Wilson out of the way right now, getting Patterson off your team and Zeke. Giving up Sutton's a big piece, though. I wouldn't say you lost the trade per se. I think I would have negotiated a little bit to not – if you're including Sutton in there, like you can't include the other 3. You got to dwindle it down a little bit. But you got good guys back. You got really good guys back, but they're also not playing this week. So you might cop an L in your league this week because they're not playing. You traded away guys that are playing this week. So first off, I would have waited a week to make this trade. And second off, I would have tweaked it a little bit. But rest of season, I think you have really good running backs now.
Yeah, so my thing is, where would you rank everybody rest of the season? My order would be DeAndre Swift 1, Cortland Sutton number 2, Damian Pierce number 3. So
yeah,
you walked out with 2 of the 3 best players in the trade. Jeff Wilson won't be a starter in 4 to 5 weeks, and they are making offers for McCaffrey at the moment. Cortland Patterson hurt already, might have good weeks, might have bad weeks. Ezekiel Elliott's been awful so far. So
I would also like to know who you
got the better end of the deal, but I agree with Nick. You did give up a little more than I think you had to.
I would love to know who your receivers are if you're trading Sutton, because if you have receivers like I do in a league or 2, like then you made a good trade. All right. Did you find that Adam Thielen stat you were looking for?
I did not.
Okay, that's too bad. All right, let's go to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers at the Pittsburgh Steelers. I need to note this now. The Steelers are missing their top 2 or 3 corners plus Mika Fitzpatrick. So play every buck. Tom Brady's a great play. Godwin and Evans are great plays. Leonard Fournette's a great play. As for the Steelers, it's Deontay Johnson and nobody else for me. If you have to play Najee, I'm sure you might have to. That's fine, I guess. But I'm not excited to look at Najee Harris in my lineup.
I did find the tweet about Adam Thielen that I would want to read out real quick because I already shouted out Sal Vetri. Adam Thielen, great play. He's earning 7+ targets for 4 straight games, including 9 red zone targets in this time. His usage has only led to 1 touchdown. This is going to change. Thielen is running 39 routes per week, which ranks, let me see if I can find it, which ranks 7th in the NFL on average. He's also facing Miami secondary, ranked number 30th in the league. He's going up against an outside corner who currently ranks outside the top 100 in coverage since 2020. So he has one of the best matchups per corner against the secondary, and he's getting all the usage and numbers you'd want to see from any other receiver.
All right. It's a pretty good tweet. So there you go. Tampa Bay at Pittsburgh. Any thoughts on that one?
Bench your Steelers.
Anybody you'd play or want to play?
I don't want to play any of them, but
okay.
I am forced to.
Okay. Moving on to the 4:00 games. Carolina Panthers at Los Angeles Rams. Cam Akers isn't playing with I was going to come up with a joke. I was going to come up with a joke, but I couldn't. Anyway, PJ Walker is starting for the Carolina Panthers. So Joe says Thielen or Deontay. Play Thielen.
Yeah.
Expectations for Evans, great game. I mean, 100 yards, a touchdown at least, I think. It should be an offensive explosion. This should be the game the Bucs score a lot of points in. The Bills scored like 40 last week.
This feels like the floor is 6 catches for 80 yards for Evans this week.
Yeah, so that's
monster. Should be a monster.
You want to talk about Carolina and the Rams a bit? I mean, I know you like and dislike some of these players.
Sure. So I like DJ Moore this week. I've said it for people that have been listening for a while now, but for new people that are in, DJ Moore last week, or last season with PJ Walker at quarterback had a total over a 5-week span, had 45 catches and 400 yards. So he's averaging 9 catches, 80 yards per game in that time. So, and he's going up against Jalen Ramsey, who has been one of the worst cornerbacks in football this season for fantasy purposes. DJ Moore should have a very good game. His best of the year with this matchup. And then, of course, I like CMC. Like that's really it from the Carolina side.
All right, from Tully, what do you guys think an NFL team should give up for McCaffrey in the trade? This is tough. Definitely a first-round pick and like 2 or 3 players, I think. First-round pick, third-round pick, and maybe like a 7th or 6th-round pick and like 2 players. It's also tough because his contract's really high for a running back and he's 26 years old. So I don't know how many teams want to take on that contract. If you're like the Bills and you're win now in the next 2 years, then yes, do it if you have the cap. But it's tough.
I think that's too much to give away for CMC. I think he's more worth like a 2nd-round pick and a 5th because his contract is so expensive. Where the Rams don't have the capital to afford it.
They want a first for DJ Moore.
Afford it,
but they want a first for DJ Moore, so they're not going to give up more.
But DJ Moore is different though. He's a young receiver. McCaffrey's an injury-prone older running back, but by their standards. I think DJ Moore will have more trade value, especially after last year. You saw what the receivers were going for. All those receivers were going for 4 or 5 picks, and 2 of them being first rounders. So there's a lot of outside of Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper is a great example, right? Like Amari Cooper was worth a 5th-round pick because of an awful contract. That's what Christian McCaffrey is going to have the value of.
Yeah,
I think it's more valuable, but yeah.
From Randy Miller, did you guys hear about Najee getting a rod out of his foot? I don't think it was a rod out of his foot. I think he was playing with a metal plate in his shoe, I believe.
Yeah, so Najee is a very agile and quick mover side to side. It was pretty much preventing him from, like in Madden, when you hit the joystick to the left and the right and doing that kind of juke move. That's what it was preventing him from doing.
I don't think it's going to affect him either way, only because the offensive line is so bad. Like he's getting contact right at the line of scrimmage. He can't run. Like he has no holes. So I think that's the bigger problem. Najee's talent isn't the problem to me. His quarterback and line around him is really bad.
Yeah.
From Nick Barone, what do you think a fantasy team would have to trade away for Christian McCaffrey? A solid running back 2 and a wide receiver 2. I think is enough to get it done, depending on the team you're trading.
No. So so that would mean so a wide receiver 2 and a running back 2 would get it done.
Well, if you're trading away McCaffrey, there's no point in trading him away for like.
No. If you're trading for him,
I know what I'm saying. I'm saying if you're trading for him, there's no reason to trade Derrick Henry for him because you're just swapping players at that point. When I made my Justin Jefferson trade the other day, right? I straight up said to, the person I was talking to, I said, I am not trading Cooper Kupp because we're just swapping guys. And he understood that. He said, you're right. He needed depth. I gave him depth. For McCaffrey, I think you either give 3 really good depth guys, you give 2 really solid starters. There's no reason to swap a top player. Then what's the point? Unless you really like the other top player.
I think you need a low-end wide receiver 1 or low-end wide receiver 2, and then of the opposite position, high-end. Because if I'm a CMC owner, I'm not going to accept an offer like an RB2 such as...
Would you do like Josh Jacobs and Cortland Sutton?
No, I wouldn't do that for CMC.
What if you need a depth, though? What if you're 0-5?
You could get more.
Like what though? What do you think you're getting?
If you offered me those 2, I wouldn't do it. I would need a third. I would want a third player with it if I need depth.
But a third player, I'm not giving you another flex guy. I would give you Antonio Gibson or somebody. I'd give you a bench guy. I can't give 3 starters.
I still wouldn't take that. CMC is worth 20 points per game in one spot of your lineup. You have to think, if you're putting Cortland Sutton and Josh Jacobson, if the other guy in your lineup is averaging 10 points per game, combine it with CMC, you're breaking even. It's not worth it. You got to get more value.
He says, what kind of wide receiver would I add on Kamara to get CMC, for example? I just wouldn't do it then. Like, unless your team is really, really loaded, like, I just wouldn't do it.
His team is stacked.
Okay, so, I mean...
I drafted it. 5-0, we're over there.
There we go.
My guy, NBA
I don't know. It's like, this is where things get really tricky. Like, I get what you mean with McCaffrey's value, but I mean, I don't know. It's... I think if you're trading McCaffrey, you need depth, and I think if you get 2 or 3 solid starters, then that's the trade you got to do. Otherwise, there's no reason to trade him. Why else do you trade him?
I do think that you can trade him, or if you want him, and I think trading Kamara for him is a good idea because he is coming off the high week, and I don't think there is much you need to throw in with Kamara to get him. Like I do think, I mean, obviously a guy like AJ Brown, I mean, I wouldn't do that, but
I'd rather have AJ Brown and Kamara. Would you do
Deontay Johnson and Kamara for him?
I would rather have Deontay Johnson and Kamara.
I think I'd rather
McCaffrey still hasn't proven. Like, I know he's 5 weeks in, but he's had 2 injuries already this season. Even if he hasn't missed a game, like, you're still trading for an injury-prone running back on a really bad football team.
McCaffrey's game log this year. 16,
I know his game log. I've looked at it.
17, 25, 24.
Nick, I am trading to trade for McCaffrey in a league, by the way.
He's averaging 20 points per game.
He's playing very well, but I'm just saying that, like, if you trade for him in
football,
if he goes down next week, you're screwed.
Of course. So, but that could happen for any player.
All right. Timothy Johnson. Hey, guys, flex spot. AJ Dillon, Waddle, Olave, pick one. Standard, thanks. Play Waddle. He's healthy. Should be a high-scoring game. I like Waddle in this one. I do like Olave, but he's not playing today as far as we know.
Yep, I agree. Go with Jalen Waddle.
From Andre. Start. Who's that first one, Andre? I don't know that first one. Fant, Gentry, or Otton? I don't know Otton.
I assume it's one of these deep leagues.
Must be really deep. I'm gonna have to look that up. There's got to be a tight end somewhere. NFL tight.
It's a tight end for the Buccaneers. Last week had 6 catches on 7 targets for 43.
Did Brate play last week?
I do not know. That's something we have to look into.
I'll play Gentry because Freiermuth isn't playing.
No, Brate did not play, and he's healthy this week.
Play Gentry because Freiermuth isn't playing.
Yeah, I think that's a good take.
Gresham, I missed your question. I'm sorry about that. Going back to it. Can't believe I'm asking Aaron Rodgers or Zach Wilson.
Nick and I are going to fight. It's Zach Wilson.
No, because the Jets are a running football team, and I think Breece Hall is an excellent running back. And I think Michael Carter's a good running back too, and I think all the touchdowns are going to the running backs, leading me to think that Zach Wilson is not a good fantasy play. I am not knocking Zach Wilson, the player here. I am knocking the fantasy production. Aaron Rodgers.
Do you think he's averaging more points over the last 2 weeks?
Well,
who do you think is averaging more fantasy points on the season?
Rodgers.
Per game? No.
What's the number?
Rodgers is averaging 14.5. Zach Wilson's averaging a little over 16.
I'm taking Rodgers.
You're crazy.
All right. From the who again? Who should I start? Should I start Dalton Schultz in my tight end? If my tight end's on a bye, I don't love that. Who's on your waiver wire? Also, in the trade I sent, my receivers are Justin Jefferson, Chase, and Godwin. Woo-hoo-hoo! All right. Good trade then. That's awesome, dude. Good trade. That's the trade we sent.
Solid.
Sutton. Should I start? I don't want to start Dalton Schultz, so let us know who's on your waiver wire. From Jay Bryant, Pittman or Gordon for the flex? Play Pittman. I always like playing the receivers, especially if it's a PPR league. If it's not PPR, I might change, but go Pittman. Nick Barone says smaller sample size for Wilson, by the way. Good point.
2 games off an injury and he's averaging more points.
He's playing well. I've said on the show that he's playing well and had him as a boom last week, so I'm not knocking him. Isaac Buba, should I trade Chubb, Hilaire, and Amon-Ra for Diggs, Mixon, and Aaron Jones? Yes. Mixon's the numbers aren't saying it yet, but he's right on the cusp. Diggs is just a slam dunk, and Aaron Jones is still Aaron Jones. I like this trade. I would rather have Diggs, Mixon, and Jones rest of the season.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think you make another one where you make out like a bandit.
Yeah, I think so. But those other guys are pretty good too. Chubb, Hilaire, and Amon-Ra, they're not bad at all. If you can make this trade today, then you don't have to worry about Amon-Ra being on bye. So
yep.
Randy Miller, in your opinion, will Jonathan Taylor bounce back? I think so. His last 2 seasons, he hasn't played well the first 4 weeks, so I think he bounces back.
Yeah. I think Taylor's a great trade for candidate at the moment.
I think so too. I asked somebody in my league if Taylor was available. They said no. Wilson, a smaller sample size. I already did that one.
So just real quick, just so we could talk about a smaller sample size. In Aaron Rodgers' games, he has 4 games under 15 points at the moment out of his 5 games that he's played. There's a very good argument that the New York Jets are the number 1 defense that he's going to see through 5 weeks. So just to give some perspective, smaller sample size.
Rodgers looks bad. And here's the thing, Nick. This is the last thing I'll say about this. You know I'm not a Rodgers guy or a Packers guy. Like I can't stand them. So the fact that I'm talking them up just a little bit, and the fact that I'm picking them this week. So defense start Green Bay.
I don't know if saying he's better than Zach Wilson is really saying much, but sure.
I don't like this one because as much as I like thrashing the Jets, which I do have fun with it sometimes, I think they're playing well, so I don't really love Green Bay's defense. I think right now I'm playing them in our league, but I think that's going to change come kickoff. I don't love playing the Dallas defense either because Eagles looks really good. I think. What do you think? The Dallas defense looks better.
I think Dallas has 4 or is averaging like 14 points per game. So I do think Dallas is the better play, but I do think you might have better guys on the waivers. Like who's the top guys? Just to spit a few teams that might be on your waiver that I think are better or better plays. I mean, the Rams have been dropped in a lot of leagues. They're not rostered in a lot of places. Going up against a backup quarterback, they should be a good start this week. Cincinnati has one of the top defenses in the league. New Orleans is missing Michael Thomas, probably Olave. Jameis Winston's not going to be there, so there's a lot of upside there. Colts and Jaguars, you could play either side of the ball there. New England, I think, has one of the best matchups this week against Cleveland. I think that's a must. I think they are must start in every league. San Francisco and Atlanta, that's another good one. So I do think there's better plays. If you have any of those, I think I would start them over Green Bay or Dallas.
All right. Who I'm still waiting to see on who you have at tight end on your waiver wire because I don't like Dalton Schultz. I don't know if you like Dalton Schultz today, but I don't. No. So I still want to know who's on your waiver wire. All right. Buffalo at Kansas City. No injuries in this one. Everybody's expecting the over, which kind of leads me to believe we're not getting an over game. But anyway, I expect an over game. They're too talented. Play everybody. Play everybody. That's all I got.
Yep. Play them all.
Arizona at the Seahawks. Darrell Williams and James Conner both out this week. Eno Benjamin's a great play. Tyler Lockett with a hamstring practice Friday, removed from the injury report. I think this could be an NFC West shootout.
Absolutely. It's going to be a shootout.
Nick Barone says, I'm 5-0 in my league. Should I keep my bench depth or bulk up? Bulk up. I bulked up for Justin Jefferson this week, and I still have a pretty decent bench. Bulk up if you can. Trade 2 or 3 guys for a star that somebody's frustrated with. And you want to know how I got Jefferson? I asked in my league, and I said, who wants to trade? What do you want to get? Like, what do you want to trade away? And this was somebody that I talked to earlier in the season about a different trade, and it was not great trade talk. So when he drops in the chat, I'm willing to deal Jefferson. I'm like, okay, let's attack this. I would go out there and see who your league mates are willing to give up. And then once you figure that out, target it on a player that's probably playing bad and has a good schedule going forward.
Yep.
All right. From Mordenheim, Super Flex League. Currently have Mariota in flex spot. Thoughts on swapping them out for either Jacoby Myers or Ayuk? San Francisco defense not giving up a lot to quarterbacks, and it's Mariota. I like both of them more than Mariota this week. I like Jacoby Myers a little bit more though.
Yeah, I agree. I would lean Jacoby Myers.
Okay. Isaac again. I like Pierce or Jacoby Myers. I like Jacoby Myers because he's the wide receiver 1 on his team. I do like Pierce this week though.
I agree with that, but
Good.
begrudgingly.
Yeah. Good question here. Rafael Castro, Isaiah McKenzie, or Rondale Moore?
I would lean McKenzie here. I do think he has a lot more upside in this matchup, rest of the season, and I think Rondale Moore is a good player. I just don't think they're using him right yet. I don't think they figured out Rondale's role in that offense.
I don't think so either. With Hopkins coming back, I'm not sure he has a role in that offense. So go with that.
He's not back this week, but I still don't think Moore is the play.
I think Rondale, the football player, needed to play the first 6 weeks without Hopkins, and that didn't happen.
Yeah.
All right, from Tully, what did you trade for Jefferson? I could recap that. So Tully, let me read off my roster just so you understand why I made this trade. I'm 4-1 in this league. There's an opponent who has Derrick Henry, McCaffrey, Debo, and Kelsey. So my goal of this trade was to compete with this one person in my league. Like that was the whole goal of this trade. My roster, quarterbacks are Kyler and Brady. My receivers were, again, before I made this trade, they were Cooper Kupp, Cortland Sutton, Hollywood Brown, T. Higgins, Jacoby Myers, Romeo Doubs. My running backs were Jeff Wilson, Melvin Gordon, Travis Etienne, Damian Pierce, and Eno Benjamin. So I traded the package of Hollywood Brown, Jacoby Myers, and DeAndre Swift. I did have Swift. I traded those 3 for Justin Jefferson and Antonio Gibson. So I gave up a lot. My starting lineup right now is Kyler Murray, Cortland Sutton, Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson, Jeff Wilson, Melvin Gordon, Kyle Pitts, and T. Higgins. And then my bench has Damian Pierce, Tom Brady, Travis Etienne, Eno Benjamin. So I did give up a haul, but yes, for Justin Jefferson, it was worth the haul for me at least. So there you go. All right, it's peanut butter jelly time. We're going with Pierce or London this week with Higgins
I'm
out.
flipping that.
Gross. Is Higgins is Higgins officially out yet? I don't think he is.
I don't know if he was ruled out yet.
Let's find out. Let's go to Twitter. I don't think.
I don't think he's worth playing at all. I would not play Higgins.
Alec Pierce has a good matchup too.
I would go with Alec Pierce over Drake London.
Okay, go with him. Peanut butter jelly time. Peanut butter jelly time. All right. Rafael Castro again. Jeff Wilson or Kenneth Walker? I think we answered this one earlier in the show, but it's still a really fun question to answer. I'm going with Jeff Wilson. The 3 NFC West running backs are so much fun to talk about because they're all kind of even to me, and it's really tough to predict. So if you have Kenneth Walker, Jeff Wilson, and Eno Benjamin, you have to play 2.
Even Darrell Henderson, you could throw.
Yeah, that's another one. Yeah,
let's quickly rank them.
Let's do it for this week. Just for this week.
For the week, yeah.
You go first because I have 2 of them and I'm still deciding, and I'm not going to decide until.
So Darrell Henderson's my number 4. I think we agree
on that.
I think the other 3 are better plays than him.
I think I have Walker at 3 for sure.
Yeah, I would put Walker number 3, and then Eno Benjamin and Jeff Wilson would be the 2 that I debate between.
I think I have Wilson at 1 slightly. So play Wilson.
Yeah, I agree. I would go Wilson over just because I've seen for 4 weeks him put up double-digit points. Like, I'm confident in that.
Peanut butter jelly Sonny doesn't trust Higgins either way, and that makes sense. By the way, guys, we're at 10 o'clock, but we're still getting questions, so we're going to keep going until our voices give out or something. From Mendez, Breece Hall or Cortland Sutton for flex. You must have an awesome team to make this decision. Nick, take it away, because these are 2 of your guys, and I think they're both really good plays, and I could flip a coin and pick one.
I do agree with Nick. They're both good plays. I would go with Breece Hall. And that's the guy. I am the highest man in the world on Cortland Sutton for this fantasy season. I'm probably the only person in the world that ranked him inside my top 10 for the end of the year. But the fact is, Breece Hall is getting guaranteed workload on the ground, in the air. He just had 200 yards from scrimmage last week. Like, he's been a monster. He's gone up in workload week over week. His fantasy production has gone up week over week. And the way that the Packers struggled against the Giants was athletic running back play. And Breece Hall is one of the best athletes at running back in the league at the moment. So I think Breece Hall is a must start. I think you have to play him everywhere for this week, where there's an argument to bench Sutton. Like, you have to acknowledge that the offense isn't playing well. Breece Hall's got the safer floor with that workload. He has the safer upside, he has a little bit of a higher upside. I wouldn't think so because it's the Jets, but he just put up close to 30 points last week, so it's hard to argue against that.
I have the Packers in Survivor this week, so this is how you know it's coming from somebody who actually believes in Breece Hall. He's on my own all boom team as well. Breece Hall is a good matchup. Like, he's going to play well. He's played well the last 3 or 4 weeks. I echo everything Nick said. Play Breece Hall. He's locked into your lineup every week at this point. He's just like McCaffrey, Kamara, Mixon. Like you don't even ask the question about playing him anymore at this point. Yep. That's how I view him, at least. I have a bunch of questions in the chat. We're going to get to them. Thank you guys for joining me. Appreciate that a lot. Nick has got about 5 minutes, so we're going to go another 5 minutes, answer these questions. Again, we're live every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Eastern time. From Rochita, Michael Pittman, Devontae Smith, Breece Hall, Eno Benjamin, sit one. I think you're sitting Devontae Smith.
I agree completely.
All right. Tully says, good trade. Hollywood's number is going to go down. Hopkins back. Jamal Williams is going to be healthy. Take snaps away. It's possible. I actually really still like Hollywood Brown on the season. And I think his numbers go down slightly, but I think the touchdowns is really
I think next week, Hollywood Brown is going to be one of the best trade for candidates. Because everyone's going to acknowledge Hopkins coming back and be fearful of that struggle, where I do think he will be a very good buy.
Yep. All right. From Ben Terry, PPR flex, one of Najee, Rondo Moore, and DJ Moore. I think DJ Moore.
Yeah, I would lean DJ Moore here.
Thank you for the question, Ben. We appreciate that every Sunday, 8:30 a.m. Hope to see you there. Thoughts on Henderson for the rest of the season if Akers is gone? I think this game's going to tell us a lot, Joe. If Henderson goes out there and scores 100 yards and a touchdown and Akers is gone, I don't think it's a committee situation. If Henderson doesn't play well in terms of yards per carry, getting first downs, etc., could turn into a really bad committee over there for fantasy purposes.
I think the only way that they move Akers is if they're confident they're landing Christian McCaffrey. So
okay, that's fair.
That'll say a lot about Henderson there.
All right, from Patty, Melvin Gordon or Darrell Henderson at the flex for PPR. Play Melvin Gordon. The Chargers have allowed the most fantasy points to running backs. It's a good play this week. Rafael Castro, who's going to be the running back one for the Colts? Deion Jackson, I think. I can't tell you.
Deion Jackson.
Flip a coin. Nick believes in him. Like the new profile picture. It's the freaking duck from the baseball game. It's funny. All right. Last game before we get out of here. Dallas Cowboys at the Philadelphia Eagles. Dalton Schultz, not on the injury report with the PCL. Still don't want to play him. CeeDee Lamb with the hip is questionable. Expected to play. Jake Elliott, kicker. Another kicker injury. Will play. I like the defenses in this game. I think you temper expectations for every single offensive player in this game on both sides. Two tough defenses. This is going to be a low scoring game, I think. I don't think this is an offensive explosion. I think if one of these teams gets the 20, that's the winning number.
Yeah, I think that's a good take.
All right. We did go about an hour 40, guys. A lot of you guys asked questions. We appreciate that. Another one. We'll answer questions.
Come on.
Deion Jackson.
Deion
Jackson or Clyde Edwards-Helaire. And
it was funny because I thought about this earlier in the episode saying, I pray no one has to ask this question because I don't want to answer before in front of Nick. But he had to ask at the last second. I would go Deion Jackson.
Wow.
And I'm the biggest Clyde
Edwards-Helaire guy. You were riding the Clyde hype train. Wow.
I don't like the Bills matchup for Clyde. I like Deion Jackson's matchup.
I actually do. All right. Ramondre Stevenson for Cortland Sutton was a good trade. Oh, yes. Good trade. Big. Good trade.
Cashed in.
All right. We'll answer questions until I finish my plugs. Thank you guys so much for watching this show. If you enjoyed it, drop a like on the video, whether you're on Facebook. No, don't apologize at all. We want to answer all your questions. Don't apologize at all. We appreciate it. Thank you guys. I hope to see you next weekend, Rafael. Hope so.
Yes,
like I was saying, we do the show every week, 8:30 a.m. on Sundays, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. We go for about an hour and a half. Hope to see you guys next week for week 7. Hope to see you for the rest of the season. If you enjoyed this video, drop a like on Facebook, drop a like on YouTube, hit the subscribe on YouTube, hit the little notification thing. We'd appreciate that. Share the show with your friends. Tell them about it. We'd appreciate that as well. If you want to keep listening to us throughout the week, we do 4 shows a week, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday. The audio versions of those shows are available on all podcasting platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Anchor, Google Podcasts. If you're on iTunes or Spotify, a 5-star review is appreciated. If you'd rather watch and listen to the show like you did today, go to our YouTube channel, Primetime Fantasy Podcast. Every episode is uploaded there. If you watch an episode and you enjoy it, please drop a like, hit that subscribe button. We appreciate all of that. Keep checking in with us on social media, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, PrimeTimeFFPod, Facebook and YouTube, Primetime Fantasy Podcast. From Nick Barone, our buddy, Cooper Kupp, or AJ Brown. Man, if you can't play both, that really sucks for you. Play Cooper Kupp.
Yep.
All right. Best of luck in week 6, guys. If you have any other questions, hit us up on Twitter, PrimetimeFFPod. We'll answer them. And best of luck in week 7. Enjoy your Sunday.